Facebook. And here we go.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hello to everybody. Welcome, welcome to another day of the Daily Antidote of Sound. Greetings to all of you in Facebook land Facebook land, that's my new word. But anyway, for joining us in this, thank you all of the members on this Zoom recording. I'm Kathy Bullock, and I am delighted to greet you and say hello. And if you're in Eastern Standard Time, it is noon. And if not, it's some other time. But we are all together and whoop, whoop, whoop. Thank you. So I'm going to say special welcome to Dick. Hey, Dick. And Jane, Kathy, Arlene. I see a blank space for Arlene, but she must be there somewhere. Pete, I see you, Pete. Hey, Susan, Sarah, Paige, Sheila, welcome. And Janet and Pete. I see Pete in Toronto. Wonderful. Christiana. Lisa. No. LMG is Lisa.
Lynn.
You only told me about 50 times, Lynn. One day before I die, I will get that right. And Dion, Nancy, Deli, hey, Kathleen, Dennis, welcome. Barb and Steve. Now there's Ann Lafferty. Hey. Oh, there's some more spaces here. Let me go over to the next page and see who else we have here to welcome. Rosie, Nancy, Deborah, welcome Paula, Busy, hey, Mac, Carolyn, Janet, Sid, Gary, and Christy, Dan, welcome, Sarah, and there's David from upstate New York, and Sheila Ginsburg, Arlene Basker, and Baxter, I'm sorry. Storm, hey, I see your name, and I know you're one of our, your camera's not working. Oh, I know that experience too well. And so for all the rest of you wonderful folks, we're just delighted to see you here again. Taking a deep breath, and guess what? I'm so delighted because I could take that breath, because I'm alive, because we have another day to share and connect and just welcome the lives today. It's really been a difficult time for some. I've had family members and others, friends, and struggling, but happy solstice. This is the day of the winter solstice. I just learned that from Joe, and our special guest, Joe Jencks, is going to really honor this day. So I think after today, the days get longer, the sunlight gets longer. I mean, there's some symbolism in that, y'all. Just hold that phone and we're going on. Now, I want to introduce you to our special guest today. He is not a stranger to those of us here in the Daily Antidote of Song family. It's Joe Jencks. He has been 22 years or more on the road, singing, writing, composing, sharing music, sharing uplifting songs, and just a power that you leave smiling and ready for more. He's waiting and ready for us. He calls this 2020, instead of being on the road, his basement tour of 2020. So I love that one, what he said. And he also want to remind you that most recently, on December 19th, on Saturday, he did a Christmas, not Christmas, he calls it a Midwinter's Night celebration. And you are all welcome to check it out. You'll find the links if you go to his website or on our chat here, and we'll remind you again later on with our very special guest announcer. So at this time, I want to turn it over to our special guest, Joe Jencks. Welcome him, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you, Joe, and thank you, Binta, and thanks to everybody who's been making this happen. You all took on something huge when COVID quarantine happened and decided to do this, and it is just so commendable that you've continued to do it every day that we've been in quarantine now. That's just astonishing, and it's been a source of extraordinary hope and joy and an anchoring point for, hundreds of people real time, and thousands of people, tens of thousands at this point, have viewed things that you've recorded and put out into the world. And as we turn toward the light tomorrow morning, when we arise and recognize that the days are getting longer and that there is, in fact, hope in the world, even sometimes when we're not aware of it. I think of the way in which this gathering daily has been a point of hope for so many people. The song is called The Longest Night of the Year. I'll sing the chorus for you, and then I will teach you the chorus, and then we'll do the whole song. So... Somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Then again, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night of the year. And somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night of the year. We'll try that together now. Somewhere in the shadows we find faith. Somewhere in the shadows we find faith. We'll do that again. Somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Bold enough to chase our fears. That is bold enough to chase away our fears. Somewhere in the shadow we find faith. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears. Bold enough to chase away our tears. That is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night of the year. On the longest night of the year. We'll do that last line one more time. On the longest night of the year. On the longest night of the year. Well, I think you have it. I saw a lot of mouths moving. I could hear you in my head. My head's pretty inventive, so you all sounded really fantastic. So nice to hear you sing together. Standing in the dark, we light a candle as we hold on to the hope that things will change, that love will lead the way back into the light. The heart of winter is upon us. Chill wind touches every bone. Frost grows on the glass as daylight gives into the night. And somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night of the year. There are days that we remember when the sun shone brightly in the sky, when all the world was new and storm clouds passed us by. But summer turns into the winter through autumn's colors as they fall, as we dare to remember the the sound of the songbirds call, and somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night of the year. The promise of spring still lives within us, even when it seems so far away. So we hold hands and walk together, not knowing where the path will lead, as we dare to hold out hope in our time of need. And somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night of the year. Let's sing that chorus one more time. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears on the longest night, on the longest night, on the longest night of the year.
Oh, Joe, my heart is so filled, And yes, it brings tears of appreciation and joy. How did you know that this is the one thing that could be so filling to me personally and to us at this time?
Well, thank
Someone,
you, Kathy. Thank
oh
you.
my,
I have to say it's surprisingly important to me in this moment, and I won't turn our time together into a personal therapy session. I'll just sing my love into the world. But as I was singing that just now, I realized some things that are pretty salient in my life that I couldn't have known when Joe Rossi and I talked about the day and the song that I would do on the day. So I will just say that there are unseen forces at work in our lives and in the universe, and they create synergy and bring us all into the place where we need to be at exactly the right moment. I think it was Tolkien that wrote a line that Gandalf, the wizard, says when somebody says you're late, and Gandalf says, "A wizard arrives precisely when he means to." And I sometimes think that is the way the muse works. The muse arrives precisely when she means to.
well, this was precisely when, woo, me personally, and I'm sure I speak for others, I was just thank you for that wonderful gift. It's resonating all the way through my whole soul. I wanted somewhere. I'm going to be singing it all day, all tomorrow. It's my theme, baby. Okay, taking a pause because we want you to bring us back to that at the very end of our time today. But right now, we want to take a moment and invite one of our stalwart participants to provide some announcements for us. And then we'll come back to you, Joe, to talk a little bit about what this Christmas, winter, holiday season means in your life, in your world. So at this time, I'm delighted to welcome Lisa for our announcements.
Thank you. Okay, so my Boston, the talking dog, was going to do the announcements today, but she sang and danced so much at the Rebels program last night, she wasn't coming in here today. So it's up to me to do them. So here we go. So the announcements are coming up in 2021 Daily Antidote film discussion. Watch the Antidote film and make sure you have a box of Kleenex. We will meet in early 2021, details coming soon for our film discussion. Also, please join the Daily Antidote Facebook group. We all love Facebook sometimes, but anyway, join the group and put a like in there for the Daily Antidote Facebook group. Please join us for our December Community Sing on December 21st, which is tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the song leaders of Ayanna Gregory, Dan and Claudia Zane, Jennifer Cunning, and Steve Winnick, and Lilo Gonzalez. It's going to be a lot of fun, so come join the fun tonight at the Community Sing. Our Daily Antidote fundraiser was a big success. Thanks to all of you for your participation. Our fundraiser is over, but we'd love to make room at our holiday cocktails and song party for people who have just found our community in the past week. Any donations that come in between now and the 22nd will still be invited to our party on the 23rd. The link donate is in the chat, of course, in the chat. Now also, real quick, don't tell anyone, but I probably will drink a teeny bit of Kentucky bourbon. So join us for that. We'll have a lot of fun. So also, if you miss singing with us one day, you can always sing along later on Facebook Live. Of course, the link is in the chat. So also, Joe's email is in the chat and on the Rebels DC website. So let her know if you want to be on the daily email or if you have comments or ideas for the daily. I also want to thank Benta for running the text. Obviously, she's a young adult because it takes a young adult to figure all this out for us older folks. And again, I want to thank Joe so much for giving all of us an opportunity every day to meet at 12 noon and give us something to look forward to in this pandemic. So again, thank you, Joe, and all the people behind the scenes that make this possible. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do the announcements today because it's a blast. Thanks again.
Thank you, Lisa. Everybody, Lisa, that was marvelous. Oh my goodness. You sound like you've been doing this forever and ever. Always fluid, baby, and sweet and wonderful. Thank you. I want to add one more announcement to all your wonderful ones, and that everybody now, when you are coming tonight at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, and singing along after that's over at 7:30, I want you to switch over to a concert at 8 p.m. that's being given by my son Philip Bullock and another performer friend of his. He's sung before here with us and is an opera singer normally, but because of COVID, he's home. And his friend, who's also a professional singer, is home in Texas. So they did a program calling it Home for the Holidays. So it's carols, it's jazz, it's a Broadway, but it's all about the Christmas celebration and being at home. And that's free of charge. So they're just asking for donations to help them as the cause of displaced artists. So that's philipbullock.com/holiday. And it's in your chat as well. So that's at 8 o'clock tonight. And now if you're busy and you can't do it, he said the link is going to be up all the way till tomorrow, and they'll redo it on Christmas Eve. So enjoy this. Plenty of music to be had and plenty of celebration. Woo! My heart is still going. In the longest night of the year, that there in the darkness, there is power to chase away our fear and our tears. So Joe, tell me about Christmas for you.
You know, Christmas is a time of year I guess depending on what your spiritual traditions are, that has many different contexts, for people who grew up in a Christian tradition as I did. I was raised Catholic. There are specific traditions, and but there are many other obvious celebrations that happen this time of year. Solstice, and we just Friday night was the last night of Hanukkah, and there's Kwanzaa, and there are various celebrations of light in the Hindu and Indian traditions, and the Native American traditions. All over the world, in the darkest times, there are celebrations of light. And I understand this time of year differently in my late 40s than I did as a child. But it was magical for me as a child. My parents had very little money, but they really went out of their way to make Christmas a very special thing. We always had a live tree, and there were lots of ornaments that some of which had been in the family for several generations, had traveled from other countries with ancestors to... I mean, can you imagine if all you can take on a ship is one suitcase, and somewhere in there you find room to bring 4 or 5 blown glass ornaments from your homeland, And so there are things that I have that go on a Christmas tree when I have them. And some years they don't come out of the box if I don't have a tree. But I have a little Norfolk Island pine that I frequently decorate with a little tiny string of lights and, about a dozen little tiny blown glass ornaments. But this year, Christmas for me has mostly been about being in this space, about being in the studio. Christmas for me this year was about rehearsing 18 songs specific to the holiday and to the season. And it was an extraordinary meditation for me. Most of those songs I had never performed before, so I spent the 2 weeks leading up to that concert being in the woodshed, as we used to say. And for those of you, a little bit of musical history, if you don't know what that means to a musician, being in the woodshed, it means that you're practicing a lot, you're rehearsing a lot. But the story goes even deeper than that. Charlie Parker loved to come home from concerts that he was playing or gigs that he was playing and practice his instrument. And his wife was not particularly keen on him making that kind of noise, at 2 a.m. in their house, and she'd send him out to the woodshed. And that's how people started referring to their instruments as an axe, because what do you bring to the woodshed? You bring an axe. So all those jazz cats in that era started picking up the idea that you take your axe out to the woodshed, and that became colloquial to woodshed a thing, or I'm woodshedding. For like a really intensive period of creative process and discovery or rehearsal. So I've been down here in the studio woodshedding for a couple of weeks to work on that concert. And it was incredibly healing for me. In the midst of that, I lost a woman named Sharon Hilberg, who is my second mom. My own parents were gone by the time I was 24, and I met Sharon when I was 26. And from that moment until now, she has been an absolute guiding light in my life. And she died of COVID a week and a half ago. And so it was such a joy for me this year to hang on to the music, to hang on to the beauty and to the wonder, and to transform my sadness into gratitude by singing these songs over and over and over again. And that's the gift that music gives us. We all have bitter pills to swallow sometimes. We all have grief or anger or frustration that we don't know what to do with. But music gives us the power. It gives us the tools to transform that into something useful rather than letting it be something that eats away at us. It gives us the power to create healing out of sadness. And so this star that's behind me, this star, which I don't know, depending on how big I am in the screen, if I'm really small, you can probably just see a little dot on the wall, but it's a stamped metal star, 3-dimensional with a light in the middle and a funny little red plastic dot on the front that the light shines through. And my parents got that in 1952, the very first year that they were married. It went on their first tree, and it has been lit every Christmas without fail ever since. And so that is for me holiday cheer and hope. And I'll be traveling over the holidays to go be with special people to me, and that star will travel with me. It's going to get packed up right after we're done here, and it'll go in the car and travel with me, and it will again on Christmas Day be lit. And Yeah, that's about it for honoring the season for me this year. It's really been all about the music and, like putting up one string of lights to sort of, imply some holiday cheer down here in the woodshed. But it's such a joy to know all of you through this context. And please do go check out that holiday concert if you go to joejencks.com, joejencks.com. And I'll leave it live into early January at least. So you can just, anytime during the holidays, you can go and hear some interesting holiday music. I would say, I would describe it by saying if Burl Ives, Holly Near, and Howard Zinn got together to plan a holiday concert, that show might be what they would have come up with. And so.
Wow. Now that's a thought. Joe, you don't have to worry about extra lights because you bring it with you wherever you go.
Bless
Just
you,
like
Kathy.
that light symbolically of the star behind you, it just pours through you in the music and that you sing and that you share with us. So thank you for that gift, for being the conduit, for being that person who brings the light wherever you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's pretty evident.
Thank you.
Wow. It was like, oh. I was telling Joe before, y'all, I was saying his studio where it looked, it was so inviting. I just wanted to go in and pull up a chair or, get cup of tea and even get, pillow and just sit down and just like, and let you jam because, it's that kind of thing. And I also would add my thanks to Joe, the great Joe Rassi, and certainly to Benta and Washington Rebels and Carpe Diem making this possible for us. We can't say enough of thank you. And especially as I'm going through my own sorrow as one of my former students, her father just died like that last night. And I knew the family, the mother had died a few months earlier. It was just, and so as you sing somewhere in the darkness, the sun takes away the fears and the tears, it just, thank you. So you just don't know what we go through, but I'm just very thankful for this day and time. Before we sing our closing song, you bring us back to close out. Joe, do you have anything? Joe Rossi, you have anything to add? Not a thing? Okay. It looks like, y'all, we're getting ready to do that. That thing where we come back and wrap it up. And then we might have a few minutes later here if you want to add some questions. I don't know if Joe Jencks has a few moments as well to dialogue. And so all of you, Facebook family, as well as here, let us revisit this song. And I see you have your guitar along with, you're going to be playing with us. And I saw somebody else who had theirs. Oh, it's Christiana. Okay, Joe, take it away.
Great. It really isn't that long of a song, so let's just sing it all together again.
I love it. I love it. Yes, yes.
Standing in the dark, we light a candle as we hold on to the hope that things will change. Love will lead the way back into the light. The heart of winter is upon us. The chill wind touches every bone. Frost grows on the glass as daylight gives into the night. And somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears on the longest night of the year. There are days that we remember when the sun shone brightly in the sky. All the world was new and storm clouds passed us by. But summer travels toward the winter, through autumn's colors as they fall, as we strain to remember the sound of the songbirds' call. And somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears. On the longest night of the year, the promise of spring still lives within us, even when it seems so far away. So we hold hands and walk together, not knowing where the path will lead, as we dare to hold out hope in our time of need. And somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our fears. Yes, somewhere in the shadows we find faith that is bold enough to chase away our tears. On the longest night, on the longest night, on the longest night of the year.
Ooh. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Kathy. Thanks to Joe Rossi. Thanks, Binta. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everybody making this happen. Shout out to Dick Jackson up in Victoria, BC, getting higher choir, and to all of you who are keeping the music alive wherever you live.
Whoop, 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 whoop. I'm going to turn it over to Joe Rossi.
Thank you, Joe Jencks. That was unbelievably beautiful. And I don't think I've actually seen so many people weeping all at once in one song. So you have the medal for that. I'm not sure if you want to wear that over your heart or on your sleeve. It's a pretty big deal. So thank you so much. That was beautiful. Kathy Bullock, thank you so much. Binta, thank you so much. And everybody in this room, thank you. I'll say just a couple quick things. If you didn't get the email this morning, please email me, because it sounds like a lot of people haven't been getting it. So we've transferred to a new list. I just need to know so we can try to populate you back in again. Don't forget to come and join us all at the community sing tonight. We're excited to sing with you again. And the famous cocktail party on December 23rd, the final times are 5 to 6 p.m. Take a break and come back if you like from 7 to 8. Oh, I'm going to confuse everybody. 5 to 6 and 7 to 8. So there's an hour break in there for those of us who are going to be at both to take a deep breath, but also in an attempt to include folks in England, folks in California, so they didn't have to have it with their breakfast cereal. So those are the times. You will get an email. You will get a link. I wasn't able to do anything about Tokyo and South Africa and Malaysia. So they're just either going to have to be up at 5 in the morning, or maybe we'll film it so they can watch it later. If you are new to us or if you're not able to make a donation, please just be in touch. We want everybody to be there who can be there. And I just want to shout out another thank you to Joe Jencks, another thank you to Kathy Bullock. Binta, thanks again. Lisa, I forgot to say thank you to Lisa for fabulous announcements. Gang, it was really, really great to spend time with you again, and we hope to sing with you again tonight. Lots of love to all of you. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody on Facebook. Thank you, Facebook.